push I'm sorry. So that means we've actually lost some bits, right? But not to worry. I mean I've been doing this training every single Saturday from the first Saturday in April, right? And go to end next week Saturday. So every training is recorded and is on my YouTube channel. I'm going to send the link out so you can subscribe and watch the previous lessons, right? And also watch this lesson as well, right? So I'm going to record it and going to be up on my YouTube channel later today, right? So I'm sorry for not recording it um earlier. Now, let me continue. Thank you very much for the person that brought that into memory for recording. Now, we want to duplicate this basically, right? So what we'll do is what the YouTube channel. I'm going to just give the link, right? So you can just subscribe. Now, what we'll do is that we want to replicate this game across, replicate this productivity across, right? And the same thing for the dates, right? We want to replicate that, the date that is missing, right? So what we'll do first is to highlight this concern cells, right? So we highlight the concern cells. That's the first thing you will do. Highlight the concern cells. Next thing you do is go to special. So everybody, let's go to special, right? Now, in fact, let's try something. What is the shortcut to get to go to special using the alt stuff I told you before? Using the alt, blah blah blah. How do you get to go to special? I just showed us how to get to go to special, right? So anybody that wants to tell us how to get there, right? Using the alt, this. How do you get to go to special? Anybody? I just gave an illustration to how to get to. Okay, somebody has typed. I'm coming. I will get to you. Who? What did you say? Alt HFD plus S, right? Alt HFD plus S. Let's try Alt H FD and S. I hope you understand. Basically, it's very simple. Just press Alt key. We know that go to special, in case anybody is just joining, go to special is in home, find and select, go to special, basically, right? So it's very simple, and I'm not wasting too much time on that. The next thing that we want to Excel, you know what? Look for all the blank cells, because it's the blank cells that we have issues with, right? So Excel, look for the blank cells. So go to the blank cells and click on OK. Right? So please pay attention. So Excel has highlighted all the blank cells across the area we told you to highlight, right? So now we said Excel, right? Excel, right? So what I want you to do is that now we don't want to flash fill this with a particular number or a particular letter like we did in sales. In sales was easy. We just put 0 and Excel, and anywhere there's blank, give me 0. But yeah, we don't want to replicate this with 0. What we tell Excel is that we want to replicate this with so for example, for this, right, what we want to do is to replicate this blank cell with what is above it, right? So we tell Excel, replicate every blank cell with equals to, watch me, equals to the previous active cell, right? So Excel, give me equals to what is above it. So for this year, we want to replicate this with what is above it, right? So the previous active cell is what we want, right? So instead of pressing enter, what I'm going to press? Anybody? Instead of pressing enter, what I'm going to press? You can unmute your mic and tell me, please. Let's make it interactive.
Control enter.
Perfect, right? Control enter, right? So equals to what is above it. Then if I press control enter, you can see it has flash filled, right? And everything that was highlighted here is now game. Everything that we highlighted here is now productivity and utilities as well, right? And the dates that were missing has been replicated with the active cell on top of it, right? As simple as that. And now we have our data, right? But one thing I will caution is that immediately you do this, immediately you do it, right? Make sure you copy it and you paste it, and you paste it as values, because now Excel is not seeing this as game. Remember, I said Excel is seeing this as what? Equals to B10. Excel is seeing it as B10. Excel is not seeing B10 as game. It's seeing B9, right? So if for any reason I delete this, everything scatters. If I delete the first one that is actually game, everything scatters. If I for any reason just remove that rule or remove, everything scatters, right? So the best thing to do is to paste this as values, right? And to paste it as values, right, you will copy everything, right? I copy everything. So Control C is copy, basic thing, right? And I press Alt ESV. Let me just type it here. To paste special, Alt plus E plus S plus V. So I click on the what I just worked on now, and I press. I highlight everything. I copy it. I copy it with Control C first. Then to paste special, I press Alt ESV, and it shows me this paste special, right? And I tell Excel, paste this as values now. That means don't give me equals to this, equals to this. Give me the real value that's there, and I press OK. What will happen is that now what we have here is not equals to anything. It's now game. Do you understand? So if I delete this first rule, nothing happens to subsequent ones, right? Because if you don't do that and you're conducting multiple analysis, you might end up in a big error somewhere, and you're wondering where the error came from. Next thing about data cleansing as well. As I said, that we are focusing on for the next few minutes, right? Before we go into formulas, right? Is formulas and functions. Is data validation, right? Now, I don't know if you work or if you work with multiple people, and I'll give you a real life example. I'm working in a bank at some point in time, right? And we had people that inputted data from customer opening form, account opening form, right? So customer usually fill it on paper, write in paper, and people now type it in form, right? And I was working in the division where we analyze this data, right? And what I noticed was that, if I want to type in a number, there are different ways I can type in a number. I can type +234. I mean, +234 if you're in Nigeria, or +353 if you're in Ireland, or +44 if you're in UK. I mean, so there are different ways, right? Or I might just type the number directly, 08 blah 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 blah, right? There are multiple ways. And if you type plus, for example, now I will type +234 blah 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 blah, right? And I'll type 08 some blah 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 blah. Right? There are two different ways. I mean, there are two different things, and I cannot analyze two different ways of inputting numbers. Some people input names in different ways. Some people input different things in different ways, and it can make it difficult. So the data validation is a way to constrain the user of Excel to input things in a particular manner, right? For example, data validation can be found in the data tab, right? So if I go to data tab of my Excel, sorry.
Sorry, can I take you a little back a bit?
Yes, please.
The when you copy that's the select special, that's just the last one we just finished. So if you like after doing after selecting game, like you said, if you don't want the data to like scatter, you're going to highlight the game and the date, the division and the date tab, right?
Yes.
And you will tap or ESV.
No, sorry, you copy it, then
You
tap
copy,
on.
okay?
Yes,
Okay,
Control
you
C.
copy first.
Yes, copy
Okay.
it, then to paste it, you now press Alt ESV to paste.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
welcome. So to get to data validation, right? If we come to our data tab, right? Let me hide my floating. Yeah, you go to data tab. The under data tab, under data tools here, if you can see where you see my cursor is moving, you will see what you call data validation here. A very small button has a drop down. Data validation, right? And let's say we want to apply the data validation across these cells, right? So I highlight the cells first. I go to data tab. I click on data validation, and I click on new data validation. Now, what I can tell Excel is that Excel, for this, right, what I want to see here is I want you to put any value. So anybody can put any value here, right? So, but you can tell Excel, what can be put in this segment must be whole number. You must not put decimal number inside the cell, right? Or you can tell Excel, I want decimal, I want dates, I want time, or you can restrict the text length. That means it must be 50 characters or 20 characters. So if it's more than 20 characters, Excel will not allow that coming. Do you understand? But let's say what we want to do is a list, right? That means you can almost put Excel like a form. So Excel, that means if you're saying Excel, I want to put a list here. That means that what I want to put here is in a list. So let's say you want to put like a drop down, right? Excel, what I want to put in this column, right, is a list. Excel asks you, where is the source of this list? Where is the source of this list? You click on this arrow key, and for example, let's say what I want to put here is the list is drinks or chocolates, right? So I highlight drinks and chocolates. I like this drinks and chocolates, and I click on this arrow key again, and I press enter. Now, what you will notice is that when I come here, what I can put here, you see a small drop down comes here now. So I can now select drinks or chocolates, drinks or chocolates. So I have made Excel like I mean almost like a form, right? I can select the particular thing I want to see, right? In this thing, right? So maybe this convenience. So what I sold here is drinks. What I sold here is chocolate. What I sold here is drinks, and it can be multiple lists, right? So you can have as much, I mean, multiple lists. So let's say you want people to put their, I mean, you're in a form somewhere and I want people to put their gender, right? So you can put a list, right? And instead of people just typing any gender, right? Because some people can put male, some people can put M, some people can put F. Do you understand? Right? You can just make it, you can constrain the user to selecting things that are in a particular range, right? And they cannot go outside that range. That's what data validation helps us to do. Right now, custom formatting. One last thing I said Excel. Should I take this here? No, I will not take this here. I will take this in I will take this in when I'm working on the the formulas, right? I'll take that one on formulas, right? One last thing we'll do here before we go. Before we go, let's just I'll just touch on free spins very quickly. And no, free space is quite easy. Let's look for something else, right? I said we can't cover everything, right? But as much as we can cover, we'll cover, right? I'll just quickly talk about sorting data, basically, right? So, when sorting the data, right? Let's say we have this amount of data and we want to sort it by different things, right? So when I come to home, go to data, you can click on sort, right? On that sorting, basically sorting, we basically want to arrange it on that multiple layers, right? So let's say we want to arrange it, the first layer is we want to arrange it by year from the smallest to the largest, right? You can add another layer, right? You can say, oh, I want to arrange this. I want to arrange the product group after arranging the year. I want to arrange the product group from A to Z. After arranging the product group, I want to arrange the producers from A to Z. So you can have multiple layers of sorting, right? And it will sort it in that particular order. So I arrange the year first from smallest to last. He arranged the products within the year. So for 2020 now, we now arrange all the products in 2020 from A to Z. Then it goes to the producers again, arrange it from A to Z. Do you understand? It just basically sorts into multiple things. And we also have filter, right? If you click on filter here, you can highlight and select certain things you want to see. Let's say I want to see only things from hypermarket or supermarkets, for example. It brings out only things from supermarkets in my data in my view, right? And let's say I want to see you can also filter by certain parameters. For example, let's say I see everything. I want to see everything now. I come to price, right? And I want to see price price that are greater than 2 or greater than 7, for example. I click on OK. It will filter for all the prices greater than 7 for me to see, right? So filter and sort are useful tools to drill down into data, right? There are multiple things you can do. I will not waste so much time on this because we have other things to cater for in this lesson. This lessons we have some activity, um, but for now, I will skip them. This remove banks we have done that, right? One last thing I will just do here is just show us how Excel reads data, and we'll go into the next one. Now, I said Excel, right? What do you call this cell in this 320? What name does Excel call this cell? Anybody? I explained it. I said row column first, then row. So this cell what? Anybody?
C15.
Thank you very much. Right. This cell 615. As simple as it looks, right? But in Excel, you can actually name a cell. You can actually name a cell, right? For example, let's say we have this 230, right? I don't call it 230. I want to call it, I can actually name it. Let's say this is Nigeria sales from Nigeria, right? Or no, let me use Ghana. Sales from Ghana. So this is Ghana sales, right? I can come here and name this cell Ghana FY or Ghana FY12, right? So now Excel is seeing this as Ghana FY12. So if I come somewhere else and I click on and I say equals to Ghana FY12 plus 1, it gives me 230 plus 1. So you can actually name a cell. You can change the naming of a cell, right? For example, you can almost, I mean, you can also change the name of a range of cells. For example, this, if I highlight F12, I mean, this is cells from in 2012, right? If I highlight everything together, I can actually change the name. For example, here, like please be looking at this name box, right? If I highlight the first two, right, it's saying 2R times 1C means 2 rows, 1 column. That means I've highlighted 2 rows and 1 column. But if you notice, if I highlight the third one, it changes to 3 rows and 1 column. But watch, if I highlight the fourth one, it changes to sales 12, big sales 12, because I have named it sales 12, right? So if I want to sum the three of them, I can do equals to sum of sales 12, and Excel gives me the sum of sales 12 because I have named this sales 12 the same way I've named this sales. I come here and just name sales 12, sales 13. So that's why sometimes you can be in somebody's Excel and be seeing some funny names equals to Onyeka times 5 times tax times this, and like, where is the person getting this? The person just basically named those particular cells. The person named those particular cells, right? And if um if you want to see where those name cells are, you go to formula tab and you go to name manager, formula tab, name manager. You see the different names that are in the cells. For example, now sales 12. If 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 you are working with somebody and seeing all these multiple names, like different things that I like, how can you do equals to tax times inflation times this? Like, how does it make sense? Like, where is it, right? You just come to name tab and it will show you. You can come and look for what you're looking for. For example, Ghana 12. I just named it here, right? And I click on, oh, Ghana 12. I'm like, okay, Ghana 12 is here. Do you understand? Right? And you can also delete names that, for example, I come here and delete Ghana 12, right? When I come back to it, Excel is not seeing this as Ghana 12. And my formula is not telling me it's an error because there's nothing like Ghana 12 plus 1. Do you understand? Right. So with that, we've come to the end of this useful tips. We're going to the next section.
Nika,
Yes, please.
sorry, I didn't get where you saw the formulas in the formula tab.
The formulas, so or
Yeah,
the names.
the name manager. All right, thank you.
So go to formula name manager. Yeah, that's where you get it. Right. So now the next thing we have to open. Everybody, can we open Excel formulas? Excel formulas is another file in what in what was sent, and the password is Excel. Tabs Excel 03. Let's open formulas. The password is what I'm putting on the chat room. I think you can see my screen as well. That shows the password. I'm going to put the password for everything in chat room, so make it easier. But the password for this, what I want to open now, is tabs Excel 3. If you have that open, can you just say open inside the chat room, or you can tell me you have it open so we can begin. If you have it open, anybody that has it open, open. Do we have it open? Nobody has open Excel formulas. The password I've put on the chat room as well. Anybody? Okay, 2 people have it open. I wait for one more person. One more person, please. Can we open it? It's meant to be a very interactive class, so please, so I cannot be talking to myself. If you can get feedback, it would be super amazing. Okay, so I have 3 people have it opened. I think is a good start, and I can begin with 3 people, right? And hopefully the others will pick it up soon. Now, Excel formulas. Before we get to Excel formulas, right? I would like to just point out some things, right? The first thing that you should know in Excel formula is that Excel reads data. Excel reads data with numbers. Oh, sorry. Instead of saying it, let me show you. Let me take screen. the first thing we should note, right, is that Excel formats is very important. Excel formats every number to the right. So if we take a number now and write a number 700 like 500, Excel will yes, we will get the recordings, and I will send you, I mean, a mail. I mean, after this, I will show you where the recordings are on my YouTube channel. Just subscribe. You'll be first to know when the recordings are out, and you also have access to other recordings that have been done previously. So Excel automatically formats every number to the right. It's very important. It's extremely important that we know this. Excel formats every letter or every text to the right. So if I type a text, Onyeka, for example, that's my name, Excel formats it to the right. If you type number, Excel formats it to the left, right? Typically, right, that's by default, right? You can always change the formatting, right? As I said, you can change formatting as suits you, but typically Excel formats every number to the right, every letter to the left, right? But there are two texts that Excel does not format to the right or left, right? Excel automatically format them to the middle, and they are Boolean, right? And they are true and they are false, true and false. So if I type true, even if I put it in small letter, right? True typically should be a text, and Excel should format true to the left, right? If I click on enter now, you see Excel will capitalize it and put it and centralize it. Same thing for false, right? Excel will capitalize it and bolden it. I'm sorry, Excel capitalize it and centralize it, because Excel sees true and false as Boolean, right? Boolean characters. Excel sees true as 1 and Excel sees false as 0. It's very important to note this. Excel sees true as 1 and sees false as 0. Let me give you an example. If I do equals to 1 plus 1, 1 plus 1 will give me 2. If I do 1 plus 0, 1 plus 0 will give me 1, right? So let me try something here. If I do equals to true plus 1, this is true, right? True plus 1. True plus 1 will give me 2, because Excel sees true as 1. If I do false plus 1, it will give me 1, because Excel sees false as 0. Do you understand? Excel sees true as 1, and true as 1, false as 0. It's very important, right, to note that, right? Another thing is that, like, you can see this 100. This 100 is typically meant to be formatted to the left, but Excel is formatting it to the right. Why? Excel is formatting this to the right because it's not a number. It's not a number. If you notice here, I put a apostrophe before the number. So Excel is seeing this as a text because there's a symbol that comes for the number. If I remove this symbol that comes for the number, Excel formats it to the right. The next thing I would like to teach us is referencing. Or no, before I get to referencing, let me give you some rules about formulas in Excel, right? To start a formula in Excel, you will need equals to sign. As simple as that, right? Simple equals to sign. But some
Can you
sorry?
go to what you just did on the index of formulas?
The formulas, okay? That true, false, blah blah blah. Yeah. What exactly would you like me to cover?
I wanted to understand the index, the one that you said when you put the
Index.
text.
Oh, okay. So I was saying that typically Excel sees numbers and highlights it to the left, right? Sorry, but if I put anything before the number, like a symbol or something, it can be at or like a sign like this 100, right? Excel is formatting to the right, meaning that Excel does not see this as a number. It sees it as a text because I put a symbol before the number. But if I remove the symbol before the number, it's Excel automatically corrects it, right? And sometimes that can be the error you might be facing in your Excel, right? Because maybe by mistake you just put a number before the a symbol before the number, and Excel is messing. Excel does not see that as a number again. It sees that as a text, right? That's what I was just trying to highlight, right? So some rules in Excel, right? When doing writing a formula, it's very important to note. We've got to the 1 hour mark. So now we have to fly because we have a lot to cover, and I will show you when we get to that point. Your Excel formulas, right, must be auditable, right? That's the word, auditable, meaning that it will be simple to use, and it does not just help you, it helps the person reviewing your work. It helps everybody. It helps the world. It helps reduce global warming, I'm telling you, because you will spend less time on your laptop if your Excel formulas are simple, right? No need to be overly complex and stuff, right? Listen, if let's say we have a price. Let's say we sell stuff, right, of 1,500, right? So that's the price, and you're going to add a VAT of 20% to your price, right? The formula to add VAT basically is typically what you do to add VAT will be the price multiplied by 1 plus the VAT percentage, right? Right, and this will give you 1/8, right? So this will not be your selling price, right? Your selling price, right? Selling price, or let me just call it SP, right? Let me bring it here. SP. Your selling price is 1,800, right? As simple as that, right? But this is bad Excel practice. It's super bad Excel practice because I mean, what is there? My price, my initial price is 1.5. I'm adding VAT of 20%. It's simple, right? It may look simple, right? And if you don't follow this principle, you might not face problem now. But when you start working with large data sets, and by the way, in June I'm going to be organizing a financial model boot camp as well, right? For those that would like to understand how to build a financial model. So please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you will know when next start is coming out. Just subscribe to my website as well, so you know when the boot camp is going to be coming up. Right. So moving on, right? Let's say we have this, right? You have the price and you have the VAT, right? The best way to do it is not typing in constants inside the formula. As much as possible, try and reduce the constants. That is typing numbers inside your formula bar, right? So what should we do then? You ask me. What I will do, instead of typing this, I will do equals to my price. I will reference my price in another cell times 1 plus. I will reference my VAT as well. This is best Excel practice. So if somebody is viewing your cell, right now, this is what you did before, times 1 plus 20%. Now, if somebody comes and look at these two things, right, I see 1,500 plus 1 plus this. I mean, I don't know what 1,500 is. I don't know what 20% is. So a normal passerby cannot understand this formula. But if you give me an Excel sheet and give me this, right, I come here and say, oh, I8 plus this. What's an I8? I8 is, and I say I8 is price. This is VAT. Automatically understand what you are doing. Do you understand? So it's easier for you. So if you make a mistake, right, it's easier for you to trace the mistake to something, right? And I can always change this to 30%, 40% easily from here than going to the formula bar and come to change it here, right? It makes it easier for everybody, for yourself, for the world, for the whole everybody, right? To reduce the amount of constants you type in your Excel formula. The next thing I would like to show us is, the next rule is that when typing an Excel formula, right, ensure that your formula is constant with, over a range of cells. For example, let's say we want to calculate percentage change, right? And I explained here. So we have January price, February price for this product. This product, by the way, are Nigerian old product. Baba Blue, Goody Goody, Tom Tom, Okim Biscuits, Tasty Time and Treble, right? So these are the products, right? These are the price in January. This is the price in February. What we want to calculate is the percentage change in price, right? Typically, the formula for calculating percentage change is this just normal. This is not what I'm trying to teach, right? The formula is just new divided by old minus 1, right? Now, if I copy this and I drag this down, right? If I drag the formula down, you can just press double click this, right? It drags this down. You can see that I have an error here, right? Because there's no value here. I just type new here, right? What people will do here is that they'll just delete this error and just continue. You should not do that. That's bad practice. Your formula should be the same from beginning to end. So what you think about is, how can we write a formula that I will cover here, cover here and cover everything as well without having an error, right? And that formula is, I mean, what I will use is what you call if error, right? And I will not explain if error now, because I'll explain if error in a much later topic. So the rule I'm just trying to explain here is that in Excel, for a range of cells, basically, all your formulas should be the same thing, and I will explain that as we go forward. Now let's go to referencing, where we're going to spend some time, right? So in Excel, please pay attention to me, right? In Excel, there are 4 kinds of referencing, right? 4 kinds of referencing, right? And 3 of them are good, 1 of them is bad, right? And if you can get this, right, you have mastered a large chunk of Excel. Please follow me. We are going to some deeper waters now. So assuming we have I'm going to use something else just to illustrate it, right? So we have these 4 products, right? And let me put the product here. We have the 4 products. Please just watch me very carefully. We have 4 products. This is their sales in January, and this is their sales in February, right? In February sales, February sales, right? Just put February sales. Please follow me, right? And sorry, I'm just putting random numbers, right? That's, I mean, I'm just trying to just get random numbers. Now, if I ask us to do what is the total sales for January and February, it's simple. We just press equals to January sales plus March sales, right? January sales plus March sales, and we copy it. So now, so I did this first one, right? January sales plus March sales. If I want to copy the formula down, right, and I let's say I drag this here, I drag it down. What you can see here is that Excel said that, okay, because you did January, February, right? You did H23, I23. If I copy the formula down, what Excel will do is that Excel will recopy it relatively, right? That means that because you are dragging it down, right? Excel will relatively drag what you reference down to as well. That means Excel will copy, instead of copying 12 and 8, Excel will copy 2 and 84, right? The same thing, if you copy it down again as well, Excel will just be Excel will relatively reference the first one. So Excel will just follow the pattern, right? Relatively, right? So this is the first kind of referencing we have. It's called relative referencing, right? So Excel will just relatively reference what you did before, right? So Excel will just keep on following the pattern relatively. So because you did A1, B1, the next one should be A2, B2. Third one to be A3, B3. So what we call relative referencing. Excel does it in by by default. So this is the default reference in Excel. So if you don't tell Excel any other thing, Excel will continue doing this thing relatively, right? It will just keep doing this divided by this, and this plus this. We'll be referencing relatively, right? The next kind of referencing I would like to teach us is what we call absolute referencing. And let me use this same example. Now, imagine we want to get the percentage sales in January. That means we want to see what does January sales or what does Baba Blue sales, right? So this is Baba Blue sales, right? But this is total, right? This is total sales, right? We want to see what is the Baba Blue sales to the total. So we want to see the proportion of this to the total, right? So if I say I want to get the total, right? Total is equals to sum, and I will get there, right? We'll get to functions later, right? I just teach you something. So this is total, right? This is gross total. That is adding all these totals together. It gives us 411. So what I want to do is that I want to do Baba Blue sales divided by total sales. Goody sales divided by total sales. Trouble sales divided by total sales, right? If I do this, I do Baba Blue sales divided by total sales, right? And I want to make it percentage. I come here, home percentage here. So that is 5%. So that means 5% of all the sales is attributable to Baba Blue, right? Imagine I want to do for Goody as well. If I copy this formula, I come here and I bring it down. It's giving me an error. Why is it giving me an error? Anybody? Why is it giving me an error? If I copied it and I put it down, why is your error? I'd like us, I mean, at this point now, it will be very perfect if you meet our mic and we engage, right? That's how we get the best of the class. I like 2 people to speak. Why? Why is it that it's giving us an error?
Because the cell reference has also moved. So now it's no longer on 411, it's on the cell below 411.
Perfect. Right. I hope you understand. Right. Because Excel, as I said, the default reference in Excel is relative, right? So Excel has said because you did this 20 divided by 411, if you move it down, I will also move it down as well. So Excel has moved this down to J24 divided by the next Nata 411. If you move it down again, right, Excel will keep on moving it down. So Excel will keep on doing relative, right? But say Excel, that's not what I want to do. What do you want to do with that? This grand total here, this grand total must be fixed. We don't want the grand total to move, right? We want the grand total to be fixed. Right. So what we now do is that we now what you do absolute referencing. That means tell Excel for this grand total here, this is J27. That's here. This J27, we don't want this J27 to move at all. So we want to absolutely reference J27. And the way to absolutely reference J27, right, is by putting a dollar sign in front of the J and in front of the 27. Right? The way to absolutely reference a particular cell is to put a dollar sign. I don't know why they said dollar, not euro, naira, pound, or yen. Right? But anyhow, we'll go with it. Is to put a dollar sign in front of the J and the number. That in front of the J is column, 27 is number. So you put a dollar sign in front of the J and the column. That's the way to absolutely reference J27. So we are telling Excel, this J27, I want you to, the other one, the other one, the formula can be relative, but this one, I don't want it to move. I want this to be fixed, right? I want it to be an absolute reference, right? So by doing that, if I copy this downwards now, what you will notice is that Excel has moved from 20 to 69, but it has not moved from 411. The same thing, if I move forward, down, Excel has stuck with 411. So that's what we call fixed referencing. So Excel has fixed 411, right? And what we have done is what we call absolute referencing. We have referenced this thing absolutely. We have referenced 411 absolutely, right? And I said the way to do it was to put a dollar sign in front of J and 27, right? And a shortcut to do it is by pressing F4 on your laptop, F4, right? Or function F4, depending on the model you are using, right? F4 on your laptop. But basically putting a dollar sign in front of the row and the column. That's basically it, right? So that's the second level of referencing. So I've talked about relative reference. I've spoken about absolute reference. Now the third level of reference we're going to talk about is now we call mixed reference. Mixed reference. Now, assuming we have this same thing exactly, right? This same thing exactly. And let's say we have total sales in January of this. We calculate our total sales, right? These are total sales. Now, what we want to see here, right, is for January and February. For January and February, right? What I want to see here, instead of seeing 12 to 12 to 5, 54, this thing, right? Yeah, right. What I want to see here is I want to see the proportion of January sales to total January, proportion of February sales to total February. That's what I want to see here, right? I don't want to see numbers, but I want to see proportion of January sales to, of Papa Blue to January sales, right? Proportion of February to February sales, right? That's what I want to see, right? But I want to do it with one formula. Remember, I said Excel. If you want to write a formula for a range of cells, you must use one formula, not multiple formulas, right? So I want to use one formula that will be able to give me the proportion of Baba Blues sales in January, proportion of good sales in January, same thing for February as well, right? And I want to use one formula to do it, right? So typically what I want to do is I want to do this, right, divided by this, right? But I want to do it in such a way that when I copy this formula to this side, right, it also gives me this divided by that. Do you understand? Right? So that's what I want, right? So this looks correct, right? January divided by January sales, February divided by February sales. They look correct, right? But what happens if I copy it and I move it down? Is an error, a major error, because it moves. As I said, it moves it relatively. So what if I say, okay, I want to fix it by making the total absolute, right? So I come here and I say, okay, you know what? I'm putting a dollar sign in front of my 27 and in front of my H, right? I think that will work. If I copy this and I copy the formula all around, does it work? Let's see. The way I will know it will work is that for January, I want to see January for Bamboo, I want to see Bamboo over total sales, correct? For Good Goody over total sales, perfect. For Okim Biscuits over total sales, this worked, right? Let's check if it worked for February. It did not work for February, because what it's doing is that it's taking February sales, but it's dividing it by January total sales. It's taking February sales, but dividing by January total sales. So that means that I don't want to absolutely fix my referencing to January. I want this sales to be flexible a bit, right? That as much as I want it to remain, to be total sales, I want it to be flex a bit, right? That means that I want it to move between columns, but not move between rows. Let me explain. That means that I want it to be fixed on row 27 because my total is on row 27, but I don't want it to be only on column H. That means that it can move from H to I, right? But even if you move from H to I, it should remain in 27. So that means that what I want to do is a mixed referencing. That means a part of my reference will be relative, a part of my reference will be absolute. Do you understand? A part of my reference will be relative, a part of my reference will be absolute. That means what I'm telling Excel here is that Excel, I want you to move. I want my formula to be able to move between columns, but not move between rows. Remember, columns are H and I. So I want you to move from H to I, but I don't want it to leave 27. That means that I want 27 to be locked, but I want H to be flexible. Do you understand? So I'll put my dollar sign only in front of 27 because I want 27 to be locked. That means that no matter what it's doing, I want my formula to remain in row 27. But my formula can move from H, I to J to K, right? So I want my H to I to J to K. That's my column. My column can be flexible. So I remove the dollar sign. But my row, which is 27, must be fixed. That means it must not leave row 27. So if I do this and I copy it across board now, what will I see? If I come and check my February, right? What is it doing for me in February? It's doing February sales over February total. If I come here, February sales for February over February total. Perfect. If I come to January as well, it's doing January sales over January total, January sales over January total. So this formula is okay, right? So this is what you call mixed referencing, where you mix a bit of absolutes on one side and relative on another side. Absolute on one or relative on one side, absolute on another side. It's just mixing and matching, right? And the more you do, the more you will get acquainted with it, right? Yes, please, you can try it out, right? And don't worry, as we go into functions, we'll be trying it out, right? In fact, what are the if we had the longer class, right? Because typically I'll take this over 2 days, right? But I'm trying to watch this within 2 hours, 15 minutes max, right? What I'll typically do is that I will give you guys a to do, right? In fact, let me give you a to do, right? And I will give you like 2 minutes to, 2 minutes might be, 2 minutes to complete, right? So I would like you guys to do the multiplication timetable. You know the timetable we learned in school, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that's 1 times 1 is 2, that kind of thing, right? So I want you to do the multiplication timetable using one formula. So you do the multiplication timetable for 1 to 5 using one formula. Anybody that's done, to just say done. Let's try. You only learn by trying, to be honest. You learn by trying, you learn by doing. Right? And obviously you need to do multiple times to know it, right? So I want you to do a multiplication timetable, right? That will use one formula that if you do this times this and you copy it across board, right? For example, this is wrong because 5 times 5 should be 25. So this should give me 25. You understand? Do a multinomial timetable that will make this correct, right? Using one formula. And what you will use here is mixed referencing. I want to test your understanding of mixed referencing, right? And when you're done, just copy the formula you use and paste it on the chat in the chat room. And if you're confused, just say I am confused or Jacob. But like you will not know that you can do it until you try it. So please, can I indulge us for 2 minutes? 2 minutes. Let's try. Everybody, let's put down together. Right? Let's just try. Right? Anybody that's done, please just put the formula you used on in the chat room, and I will vet it. I will know if it's correct or not. Right? So just type 1 to 5 here, 1 to 5. We are basically doing a multiplication timetable. 1 times 1, 1 times 2, 1 times 3, 1 times 4. I want to use mixed referencing. So a part of it will be fixed, a part of it will be absolute, right? So please, let's try. I would like to know those that are trying. If you are trying, just can you say I'm trying? I mean that you're actually doing it. So I know that at least people are trying it. Can you just say I'm trying on the chat room, or can me to make say I'm part of this, right? Anybody? Thank you, Ayo. Only Ayo is trying. Is anybody trying again? Just tell me you're trying, right? So I know that we are together, right? Okay, Victor is trying as well. Please, let's try. We learn by doing. We don't learn by listening. I mean, I've learned that you may come to the class and think, oh my God, I'm learning so much. If you're not trying to do it together, when you go back, you realize that, man, you were just listening, right? And Excel is not this is not a listening class, it's a practical class, right? So as much as possible, please, I will encourage everybody to be part of this, please. Be part of this. Let's go. Let's go. Anybody? Anybody? Okay. Victor gave me his formula. Let me see. Okay. Let me see somebody else again. Did it work for you? Somebody else again, please. I mean, you learn. We all learn by trying, right? If you don't try, don't learn. Okay, another person. We are learning by doing. Anybody? Nobody. Another person. I mean, you can meet your mic and tell me the issue you're facing. Like, man, it's not working for me, or man, I'm just stuck somewhere and stuff. Anybody? We have about 18 people on this call. Nobody's answering me. Only Victor answered me. I mean, people have answered me. Let me not lie. But like,
All right, yeah, for me, I think I could do it like relatively, but like doing it like absolutely like missing it, like I think that's where the issue lies.
okay. Somebody else want to speak the issue you're facing? I think somebody else muted the mic. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think I'm getting like, even when I'm on the first column, that's like 1 times 1.
Mm-hmm.
And when I dragged it down, it gave me 2, 6, 24, 120. And then I tried to put like the dollar sign in front of the column, like, is it 46?
Mm-hmm.
It still gave me another figure. I moved it to the column side. It gave me something else because I already know 1 times 1 is 1 and 1 times 2 is 2. So
Yeah.
that's how I know that it's wrong.
Okay. So I will just do it together. We'll just do it together very quickly because typically I will not give this example, but for this class I'm like, okay, let's do more case class work because to be honest, I may just say, do you understand? You say yes, and we just move on. Right. So basically, what we want to do is we the good thing that we know what we want to we know what we want to achieve, and when we see what we're not getting, we know it. So it's I think that's the first step, because sometimes you can be having this, you can work in Excel because you don't even know what you're trying to achieve, right? You just get something and just move on. I think you're correct. But now we know, at least we all know multiplication timetable. So what we're going to do is that 1 times 1, right? That's what we want to achieve. Bigger than multiplication, right? But what we want to achieve is that, so there are 2 parts of this formula. So let's start with this part of this formula, the one colored in yellow, right? What do we want to achieve in this part colored in yellow? What we want to achieve in this part, so, and that's how you think about it. Just take it bit by bit, and that's like, just take it small by small. In this part colored in yellow, what we want to see is that we want this part, the formula here, to go down, to change rows, but not change column. Do you understand? We want this yellow to change rows, so we want it to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Changing rows. Remember, rows and column is primary, is so rows are like this. We want it to change rows, but still remain in G. That's same column. So multiple rows, singular column. Do you understand? Multiple rows, singular column, right? So when we come here, right, multiple rows, singular column, that means anything that is singular, that means it's absolute, right? So singular column. So if you want it to be singular column, where are we going to put our $sign? Is it G or 31? Singular column, multiple rows. What is column? Is column G or column 31?
G.
G, right? So singular column, multiple rows. So we come here and put our $sign in front of G, because we want singular column, multiple rows. So we lock our G, right? For this other part of the formula, what do we want to see, right? We want it to move from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. You understand that, right? So, well, 1 times 1, 1 times 2, 1 times 3, 1 times 4. Do you understand? We want it to move from different 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But we don't need to move. We don't need to be moving down to down. We want it to stay. We want it to move columns, as we move from 1 H to I to J to K to L. So we want here to move columns, but remain in the same role. That's remain in row 30. Remain in the same role, but move columns, right? So multiple columns, singular row, right? Multiple columns, singular row. That is for this other part of the formula. So multiple columns, singular row. That means we want the row to be singular. That means we are going to lock our rows. If we are locking our row, are we locking H or 30? Anybody?
30.
30, right? So we put our $sign where? In front of 30, right? If we do this and copy this formula around, voila, we've done it. Do you understand? So it all starts from the first one. If you understand what you want to do, just say, do I want to just start, take each of part of the formula. Do I want to move, roll, or remain in the same column? Do you understand? Once you can just picture that, right? You are good to go, right? And obviously, as you try more and more, you get used to it. Wow, time has gone. And we have circular reference, right? Sorry, I said there are 4 kinds of referencing in Excel. I was saying we have relative, that's the default. We have absolute, we have mixed, and I've told you how to use them. Then the final one we have in Excel is cellular, and this is the one that you should not aim to have in your workbook, right? You can aim to have these 3, but this one is a run away from, right? So what does circular reference mean? Circular reference is basically the chicken and the egg story, right? You know this illustration where they say, who came first, the chicken or the egg? We will say, oh, the chicken came first. That's how chicken came first. Then the egg needed to be there before the chicken came. The chicken needed to be there before the egg came. So it's circular in nature. There's no answer. It's just fitting Peter with Paul. For example, we have Trevor, we have sales from Trevor, we have sales from Okin Biscuits, and we have the total, right? The total is simple. That is B4 plus 5-4. I mean B5. Simple, right? That is total, right? To have a circular reference, by sometimes you can make a mistake and do B4 plus B5. Imagine and I add the total to it again. The total is in B6 and I add B6 again to it. If you say there are one or more circular reference where a formula refers to its own cell directly or indirectly, click on OK, right? So you can see the answer is 0 here, right? And this thing, circular reference is not good in your work, right? it's not good. You should aim not to have second reference. So in case you open a file, right, or open a file and you just realize, there's circular reference. And because for circular reference, anytime you type a formula or you're doing other things, it will keep on prompting you that you have circular reference here. Oh, that means your work is rubbish. Oh, it's rubbish. Oh, it's rubbish. Oh. So once you're seeing that prompt that you have circular reference, right? You're having multiple circular references, right, in your work, right? What you should do is to go to formula tab, right? Go to formula tab. It gets more especially when you don't even know what the circular reference is, right? It just prompting you that there's like if I close this book now and I open it, the first thing will show me that there's circular reference, but it will not tell me where it is, right? So to know where it is, you come to formula, you come error checking, you click on this bar here, and you click on circular reference. It will tell you, it will not tell you what the circular reference is. It's in cell B6. So you come to cell B6 and say, what the error did that do? Okay, I'm doing this plus total again in the same box. So if I remove this B6 from it, the circular reference is gone. Do you understand? And if I come to error checking, you see they have no circular reference again in these documents, right? So that's as simple as it gets, right? I hope that is straightforward as possible. Now it's time for us to go into Excel functions. How has the class been so far? For anybody, how has the class been so far?
Great.
Okay, and I hope we are learning. That's the main thing. I hope we're learning. So now I would like us to open the last document, Excel functions. Excel function, right? Last document. Can you see my screen that shows the passwords, right? Tabs Excel 03, like Excel function, Excel functions. Now, before we go, while we open that, right? I don't know if you can see my screen. I'm trying to display my folder. Can you see my folder?
Yes.
Yeah. So now, Excel functions, we have multiple Excel functions. For example, now we have about 204 that I have here, right? And there are more than 204 Excel functions, right? So it's impossible to know all the Excel functions. It's impossible. Is it possible? Is it possible, right? Because as Excel is also creating more, right? Right. And recently there's a filter function, right? That was not available before, right? There's an XLOOKUP function. There are multiple functions that are being created, right? So it's impossible to know everything. Trust me, it's impossible. So what I've done is that I've selected the major ones that if you know and you understand, right, you'll be good to go, right? You'll be good to go, right? Obviously, there are more. And that's the person should understand. There are more, right? And what I will do in the month, in subsequent months, is that on my YouTube channel, I'm going to be releasing bit and pieces of how to do each of these functions, how to use each of them one by one, how to use each of them and their use cases, right? I'm going to be doing short videos, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So biteable pieces where you can just go, they have to use offset, they have to use its formula, they have to use average ifs, not functions, they have to just basically how to use each of these functions, and they'll be extremely helpful for you, right? So the only ask that we have, I don't know where my screen is again. Yeah, the only ask that we have for everybody is that to just please subscribe to the channel, right? My YouTube channel, so you'll be first to know when any of this information comes up. And the second thing I will ask, right, is that after this class, right, I would like to get feedback, because that's how I improve. This is a free class, it's free, right? And the only benefit I get is seeing that people actually learn, right? So, and I will not know if you have learned unless you give me feedback, like constructive feedback. This is what I learned. This how the process went, or this what you did not do. I would just like to know, right? So I will improve, right? Feedback I've gotten for the past 3 classes was what helped me to improve for the past 4 classes, actually 3 classes actually helped me to improve for this class as well. So please, I really need to get feedback. After this class, I'm also going to share this with your mail as well. So please, as much as possible, please give me feedback. And I also teach paid Excel, so I'll like get recommendation as well. So please, by all means, please I like that. So can we go into the formulas proper now? So let's begin, right? I'm going to take some essential formulas, and I will leave anybody. I mean, I will leave the class open in case she wants me to take anything. In peculiar. So from this, right, is there anything peculiar you want me to take? Right, I'm going to take some ones that I think that are very, very key. Right. Then, if there's anything in peculiar you want me to take from this, right, you can just put it in the chat room, and I will. If we have the time for it, we'll take it, right? So let's begin with this, with the simplest one. It's very simple, it's very easy. I love teaching it because it's actually nothing to teach here. It's sum function, right? Let's begin with sum function because it's very simple, it's very easy, it's not hard, right? So we have the budget of three ministries: the Ministry of Education, Health, and Defense, right? And basically, to sum, you just press sum alt equals to, right? If I press alt equals to, I can get the sum of this, right? As simple as that. Alt equals to, I sum it, right? And to copy a formula from the left side, the right side, right? If I want to copy this formula here from the left side to the right side, I will highlight everything here and press Ctrl R, right? Ctrl and R key, right? So to sum itself is alt equals to, alt and equals to key. Then to copy a formula from the left side to the right side is sure to press Ctrl R. And I can copy the formula from the leftmost part to the rightmost part. As simple like that, right? So now I've done number 1. I would like you guys to do number 2, number 3, and number 4. Number 4 is basically consolidated budget. So taking the totals of each of them, right, and consolidating them and summing them. If you are done, tell me you are done. Let's go.
So to copy from left to right is alt what?
No, Control R. I said to do the sum is yes, alt equals to. Then to copy the formula you have from left to right is Control R. Right. So alt equals to is sum. Oh, Ayo is done. I mean, are you done? I mean, okay, sorry.
Oh, like subscribe.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much. So please, I mean, this is the point where I would like everybody to unmute their mic because this is function. So there's a little bit of back and forth. So please. So if you are done with 1, 2, 3, 4, let me know. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you are done, you will know because I created like a check mark here, right? And if you miss it, right, or if you do something else, for example, let me do something else. It will show you that you are wrong, right? So you will know you are correct or not, right? So you would have to. So if you are done and you have check mark for 1, 2, 3, 4, let me know. Let's go.
Just to be clear, like are we going to copy the O row, then press alt equals to like?
So I mean there are multiple ways. So you can press like this. Okay, no, let me just stick on my. So Victor is done. Sorry, I highlighted. I have locked the cell, so that's why. So you can just highlight everything here.
Yeah.
And just press alt equals to. There are multiple ways to do it. Like like I said, there are 1,000,001 ways to do 1,000,001 things in Excel, right? So anyway that's well suited for you, please, by all means, please use.
Control R. No. You said control how to control? Okay, control. That will be control left. Okay, because I was doing from left.
Oh, the password. The password is tabs Excel. Let me see. This is the password. Tabs Excel also. Right. That's the password for Excel functions. That's what we are working with, Excel functions. Now, I believe. Okay, only Victor is done. Anybody else that's done?
I think we can. I think I'm almost done also.
Okay, Victor. I mean,
Did you say 1 to 4 or 1 to 3?
1 to 3. No, 4. I'd like us to do it together, right?
Okay, I'm done.
So I'm done.
Okay. There's something I would like to talk about in 4. Right. Gabriel is done. Bukola, are you done? Tomis, are you done? Hadin, sorry, are you done? Taiwo, are you done? Manuel, are you done? So yeah, basically it's very simple. It's just straightforward. I just wanted to engage the class, right? So to for auto sum is alt and equals to, right? So you can get the sum, right? So it's basically saying equals to sum of everything here, right? Basically, right? And to copy a formula to left to right is Control R, right? So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is that you can just highlight everything, and just press alt equals to, right? And it actually auto sums, right? Then for this, right, consolidated budget, right? So basically, what we're doing is we want to consolidate the budget of education, ministry, and defense. So for education, I come here, I press equals to, and I come here and go to the total of education, right? And I click enter, right? For health, I press equals to, I reference the total of health and I press enter. For defense, equals to total of defense and I press enter, right? And I said to copy the formula from left to right, it's just to press Control R, right? So I just press Control R, right? And it moves this way. Then to do total sum, I can just highlight everything here and I press Alt equals to, and it sums it for me, right? As simple as that, right? So that's pretty straightforward, right? Then for this, right, what I wanted to show us here is that imagine we want to sum both vertically, right, and horizontally at the same time, right? So we want to sum for education. Well, what is the budget? Totals here, total. We also want to get total for quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, right? The easiest way to do it is to highlight everything, right? I just highlight it and press Alt equals to. Right. Excel is that intuitive. So basically, what I'm just showing that Excel is actually very intuitive, right? It knows that what you're doing is that you want to sum left. That these are the empty spaces, and if you press auto sum, you want to sum left. I mean horizontally, horizontally and vertically at the same time, right? So what I did basically was just highlight everything, press Alt equals to, and bam, voila. Once at a single stroke, instead of doing this multiple times, doing quarter 1 first, then doing horizontal first, doing vertical next. With auto sum, with alt equals, you can do it just at a go with one stretch. Very simple. Do you understand? Yay
Yes.
or nay? Yay. Who else again?
Yeah.
Awesome. The years have it. Now let's go to some ifs, right? Some if, right? Now some if, as the name implies, right, is if you want to sum based on the criteria. Some if, right? Some if. So it's like using two functions together. The if function, which I will teach lastly, right? And the sum function, which I just taught you now, right? So, for example, if we want to sum up all, if we want to sum up all part, so these are the names of students, right? This the country they come from. These are their genders. These are the scores in maths, history, and biology, right? So, for example, if we want to sum up everybody's scores in maths that are Nigerians, that's what we want to do. Once again, what is total scores? Sum up all the scores of Nigerians in maths, right? What would the scores be? Right. So I use to put a formula is equals to sum if that we're using sum if here, and we press the tab key, right? So it gives us a syntax. If you can see here, see range, comma, criteria, comma, sum range, close brackets, right? So basically Excel is giving us the syntax. How do we use sum if, right? How do we use sum if? So saying Excel is telling us what is the range. Basically, Excel is asking us that, okay, you want me to sum based on the particular range, you want me to sum all the scores in Nigeria, be that one to do. So it says, so where can I see Nigeria? Where's the range I can see Nigeria? That was asking us. So where can we see Nigeria? We can see Nigeria in country, right? So we can see Nigeria in this country here. So we highlight everything here, right? So we can see Nigeria in this country range. So that's the range, comma. Excel is asking us what is the criteria? What are we looking for? So when I look at this range, what should I look for? It said look for Nigeria. So Nigeria is here, right? So this wonderful. Tell look for Nigeria, right? Nigeria, that, comma. Excel says okay, fine. So when I look at this range, I've seen Nigeria. Where. Now, when I find Nigeria, what do you want me to sum for Nigerians, right? The corresponding scores you want me to sum. So what is the sum? So what am I actually summing? And what we want to sum the scores in mathematics, right? And I come here and say this is the sum range. Excel, this is sum range. Excel say okay, no problem. Close the brackets for me. Close the bracket for me. If I click on enter, Excel will add all the scores of Nigerians in all scores of Nigerians in mathematics. And if I do it manually, we can say the scores of Nigerians here 1, 2, 3, right? That'll give us 148. If I add it together, right? That's 148 that we have here, right? So that's straightforward. Now let's do this thing. What are the scores of, if I ask you to do for year now this one, yeah. What are the scores of people that are from Ireland in biology? Total scores of people in Ireland in biology using the equals to sum. I mean the sum if function. I want you to type your formula in the
I
chat.
didn't really get the Nigeria one, sorry.
Oh, okay. I'll go by it again one last time. So equals to sum if. First thing that's is the range, right? So where can I see Nigeria, right? In the range. This is the range, right? Right? Comma. Is that not for the criteria? The criteria we had Nigeria here, right? Right. Yeah. Comma. Now, what is the sum? So what we want to see is the sum of Nigerians in mathematics, Abi, right? So this is the range I want Excel to add. And now close my bracket. Enter. Like, oh, sorry, I put it. Sorry, 23. Yeah. Right. So Excel give me where's the range? This is the range here. Yeah. So Excel give me that as simple as that. So now what I'm actually to do is the same thing, but give me the scores of everybody from Ireland in biology. What formula will you use, and what will be the
No,
okay?
I'm still lost.
No, I'm saying that let's do the same thing, but for Ireland. This is what if for Nigeria, I'll do for Ireland, right? Somebody has given me the formula they used. Who else wants to give me?
Yeah, so I understand like copying like the sum range first.
Mhm.
That's the range first. Then the criteria, are we selecting like
Yeah, we are selecting Nigeria.
we select Nigeria, okay.
Yes, I just because see Nigeria is here. I wrote it here already. Nigeria, Ireland. So I just selected what was there. So
okay,
two
then
people
the
are giving.
sum range in maths.
Yeah. Okay, so people have given me the answers. Let me just copy it. Let me see. I mean, everybody give me the same thing, so I believe everybody should be correct. But let's do it together, right? So as equals to sum if the range, right? The range, that is the country, right? The range is country, comma. The criteria is Ireland, comma, and the sum is biology. Sum range is biology, right? Yeah, right. So 155. Right now, for I don't know, I don't know what price I'll give the person, but what is wrong with this our formula, or what rule in Excel did we break for this formula? Anybody? What rule in Excel did we break? I just broke a massive rule. But no, the answer is correct. Our formula is correct. Everything is correct. But we broke. I broke a fundamental rule with what we just did. With these two things we just did now. Anybody? Just try. I mean, remember I taught us 3 rules in Excel. I followed one, but I broke the second one.
I think the first one is
No, I broke. No. Just tell me the one that I broke, not the one that I followed. The one I broke, the rule I broke.
Let me try, but I'm guessing.
Yes, please go ahead.
The formula must be the same, like applicable in all cells, I think.
Perfect. Yes, that's the formula. Yes, for Laketo Socrates as well, right? The formula must be consistent. So that means that, and I will not dwell too much on this. That means if I copy this formula and I paste it around, will it give me the same answer? No, because this one should give me 155. Right? That means this formula here I wrote here, although it's correct for one use case, is not correct to replicate across board. Do you understand? And one way to fix it, right, is that, for example, so I said you take it one by one. So this range, right? Will this range ever change? This range here, this range will remain constant. So I will lock the range, right? So my range will remain constant here. So I will lock my range, right? I will lock my range. Next one is criteria. My criteria is Nigeria, Ireland. It's moving from left up to down, right? So I can leave it. Will I leave it? No, because my criteria must remain in column C, but it can move. I mean, it can move rows, but it must remain in column C, right? So I will lock column C as well. It can move. You can move rows, but remain in column C. Then my sum range, my sum range can move from E to G to H, but I don't want it to move. I want it to move columns, but it should not move rows, right? I mean, I'm not doing this for explanation. I mean, for you to understand, I'm just doing it, just doing it either ways, right? So, for my sum range, I want I want it in a way that it can move from G, E to H, F to this, right? But even as it move from F to this, I don't want it to move from between 5 to 17. 5 to 17 should be fixed. So it can move from E, it can move from E and everything, but 5 to 17 should be fixed. So if I do like this and I copy it, this is a more realistic formula to use. Do you understand? I mean, I know perfect. I mean, somebody even has, I mean, Victor has done it already, right? So basically that's what you should use. But like I was just doing this for learning purposes, so that is fine. So we know sum if, right? The same way we can do sum if in the same way average if works too, right? So instead of doing sum if, I can do what's the average if, right? And it works the same way. Instead of giving me sum, it gives me average, right? It's the same syntax that works for sum and sum ifs, right? So, and same thing for count if, right? Same, I mean, it's same understanding. Sum if, count if, average if, it's the same pattern, right? So I'm going to skip that, right? Sum if, average if, it's basically the same pattern that we will follow, right? So let's move to something else, right? I'll come into some other ones, but I'm just trying to move to some key ones that I think are key, right? So now let's go to data tables, everybody. Let's go to data tables. I mean, go seek, sorry. Let's go to go seek. Go seek. Now, go seek can be very extremely useful for you, right? Go seek can be extremely useful for you in Excel. Now, imagine we have revenue and cost, right? And this, so revenue minus this will give us our gross margin or gross profit, basically, right? So we have our revenue, we have a variable cost, and we have our gross margin, right? Now, imagine somebody asks you, right? Let me look for somebody. Let me ask a question. Let's say Joshua, right? Joshua, that's the question for you. Joshua and Olatomi, this is for you. I want to make my gross margin 200, right? By increasing my revenue. What will my revenue now be, right? So that means they're asking you that, okay, I want to make my gross margin 200, and I want to do this by increasing my revenue. What will I do to make my gross? I mean, what will my revenue now be in order to get gross margin of 200, right? That's the question, right? Typically, we can use mathematics and do it and say my gross margin can be 5,505, right? Sorry, that's not even it, right? Sorry, my mathematics is a bit poor. Sorry, where's my go seek? Right. So now that is the problem we have. We want to see what will our revenue be in order for our gross margin to be 200. That is, so imagine that is the task you have been asked to do, right? The way to quickly do this is by using goal seek. It's very simple and very easy to use. Let me teach you. You go to data tab. Under the data tab, you have your what if analysis. Under the data tab. When you look under your what if analysis, you see what you see, you will see goal seek. Goal seek, right? If I click on goal seek, it brings us a prompt, right? Now, don't forget what we are trying to achieve. What we want to do is that we want to make our gross margin 200 by changing our revenue. Do you understand? We want to make our gross margin 200 by changing revenue. So it's asking us, it's basically saying that we are seeking for a goal. So this can help you if you're doing anything. Let's say you're doing a financial model and they say, I want your IRR or MPV to be this, or I want something to be this. So it's asking us set values as, so what value do we want to set? The value we want to set is, we click on this arrow key and say we want to set Excel. We want to set this gross margin, right? This gross margin, right? To be what, right? So Excel is asking us, set your gross margin to what, right? We want our gross margin to be 200, right? That is the option we have. By changing what, right? By changing our revenue. So we're going to follow this prompt. We told Excel, set our gross margin to be 200 by changing our revenue, right? If we click on OK, see, Excel has done it for us. It has changed our revenue to 545, and now our gross margin is 200. So without thinking too many times, Excel has done it for us. It has changed our revenue to, it has changed our gross margin to 200 by changing revenue. Now, let me give you this example and let's do it together. Now, this is these are salaries of the people that the company employ, right? This is total salary, and this is total salary over revenue. Now, imagine I want to make this percentage, right? This to be 21%, right? I want to make my salary to revenue ratio to 21%, and I want to do it by changing Fowl's the good guy salary. What will Fowl's the good guy salary be? So I want to make this 21% by changing Fowl's salary. What will Fowl's salary be? Everybody, let's try. Using goal seek, I want to make my salary to revenue ratio 21% by changing Fowl's the good guy salary. What will Fowl's the good guy salary be now? What will the new salary be? Everybody, let's try. Using goal seek that I just explained now, right? It's very simple. Just try it step by step. Come to data tab, what if analysis, click on goal seek. Simple as that. We want to make this 21% by changing Fowl's the good guy salary. And my question is to use what will Fowl's the good guy salary be now?
Mine is already on 21% though. Don't know.
You have something. Okay, sorry. My bad. Let's say we want to change it to 35% by changing Fowl's the good guy salary. Let me work again. We'll change this to 35% by changing Fowl's good guy salary. What will the salary be now? Anybody? Using goal seek. Anybody? Anybody? Okay, one person. 50. Thank you. 115.75. Okay, I have different answers now. Please, I said okay.
Mine is 100.
No. See. The main point that you got it right. I don't know. Are you Victor and Folake? Are you changing to 21% or 35%?
I moved mine to 35%.
Gabriel, 35%. Is it 25 or 21%? Right. And see, if only 100, it's fine because you know. Sorry, who was I speaking with now? I think that was I did that. You're right. That was speaking. That said that I only 100, right? Yes. Okay. See, it's correct because you know that your own was a bit different because this was 21%, not like everybody's own. So the data is not the same. So we can't use this thing. The main point is that you get the concept basically, right? So basically, you come to what if analysis, goal seek. I want to change. I want to set this to 35%, right? Sorry. I want to set. Pardon me. I want to set this to 35% by changing file salary, right? Enter, right? Because that's 115.75, right? Josh was already 19%. Do you remember, right? So like, it's that is fine. The main fact that you got the idea. That's all right. Good idea. That's all that matters. We are at our 12 o'clock mark. If you bear with me, we'll extend the class for just 20 minutes so we can cover more functions, right? Can cover more functions. Just 20 minutes, cover more functions. Let's go to concatenate, right? And similar to I don't know. Let's just concatenate. Concatenate basically is to merge two things together. As simple as that, right? Concatenate is merge two things together. Yeah. And here I would say something that's very important. In Excel, right? In Excel, when you want to add a text to a formula, a text must be in double quotation marks. A text or a symbol must be in double quotation marks. So when you want to add two things, put a text in the formula the text itself must be in double quotation marks. So now let's say we want to do this thing, Tenny Makanaki, we want to put it together. So instead of we have first name, surname, And instead of putting first and second together, I want to add it together, right? There are two ways to do it. The first way is just to just to type it out, Tenny Makana key, right? And just press Ctrl E. I did it last time. You know, the last time was to separate it. Now we're putting it together, right? Just do the first one and press Ctrl E. Excel is smart like that, right? The second way is to use the ampersand sign. The ampersand sign is this sign, and sign, the ampersand sign, right? So I do equals to Tenny and Makanaki, right? That's what I want, right? But like, what it did for me is that he did Tenny and Makanaki together. What I want is that I want to put a space beside Tenny and Makanaki. So what I truly want is equals to Tenny and space and Makanaki, right? That's what I want, right? But remember I said that if you're putting a text in a text or a symbol in a formula, right? It must be in double quotation marks. So I put Tenny because I'm not writing Tenny, I'm referencing Tenny, so I can put equals to B5 and space, right? So I'll put a double quotation mark, space, double quotation mark, and Makanaki. Remember, if you want to put a type in a text or a symbol in a formula, it must be a double quotation mark. So I put Tenny, I reference Tenny and double quotation mark space and Makanaki, and I have it here, right? And I can just drag it down and replicate it as well. That is very simple, very basic, very, very, very easy to understand, right? Do you understand that, right? I believe we should. We should understand that it's pretty straightforward, right? So should I sorry, I'm trying to see if this is really, really useful. Let's do VLOOKUP instead. Let's do VLOOKUP. So now for VLOOKUP, let's go to this activity. Let's go to activity 2. Everybody, let's go to activity 2 for VLOOKUP, right? Because like I'm going to teach you not just VLOOKUP, but I meant there are multiple things I will teach you using this, right? So please, I'm not just teaching VLOOKUP, I'm also teaching you some tips and tricks also in Excel for here. So the first thing in VLOOKUP is to understand the data itself, right? So this is data, right? And let me I'll explain what VLOOKUP is, right? But let me first explain this data first before I explain what VLOOKUP is. So now imagine we have, and this is like a lot of data, right? So we have a logistics company, right? So these are the different trips ID. So when a bike man go outside now, so these like trip 1, trip 2, that kind of thing. So these are different trip ID. These were the months they went. These were the pickup location. These were the destination. This was the expense that they used. The expense. This is the waybill number. This is the revenue, and this is the access class. That means what they picked up, right? So this is basically the data set that we have, right? Now imagine so just take this as revenue and expense. I could have changed this. Right. Now imagine we have on another sheet or maybe on the same sheet, right? They give you a list of trips ID. I say, do you know what? For like I want you to help me and see if get me the asset class, revenue, and expense for the following trip ID, right? From a large data set of the trips ID, right? Instead of doing it manually, what we'll use is VLOOKUP, right? So basically, VLOOKUP means vertical lookup. That means we are looking at a table, right? And we are looking for a certain value.
Right?
We're looking at a table and looking for a certain value. Please. Okay. Now, let's continue. Now, so for VLOOKUP to be used, right, there are two things that will happen. Two things that are important for you to use VLOOKUP. The first thing to point out is that we are looking for this 6774, right, in this place, right? That we're looking for, right? The first thing that will happen in VLOOKUP is that you must have what you call a unique identifier. That means that something that is unique across board. That means that no two values or no two data sets will share the same thing. For example, this asset class is not unique because there are many 40 feet flatbeds. This destination is not unique because there are many There are many Gusei Nigeria. There are many Apapa Nigeria, right? Pick up now. The month is not. It's also not unique. The only thing that is unique here is the trip ID, because the trip ID is being generated every time somebody go out. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's different, right? So the first thing that you must have in the VLOOKUP is unique identifiers. The next thing you must have is that unique identifier must be the leftmost part of the table. Those two conditions must be in place. The first one is that there must be a unique identifier, and number two, that unique identifier must be in the leftmost part of the table. That means it must be at the leftmost part of the table. If you have those two things, we can begin with VLOOKUP, and that's what we have here, right? So how do you use VLOOKUP? So if you want to get the asset class, okay, sorry, the next thing that you will do in VLOOKUP is that, it's not necessary. It's not necessary. Don't worry. You can do it to learn, but it's not necessary. So I will just leave it. Right. So let's start with VLOOKUP equals to VLOOKUP. So Excel helps us with syntax, right? Lookup value, table array, column, range. So those are the 4 things we need. If you can get lookup value, table array, column index number, and range, get these 4 things, we are done with VLOOKUP. It's very simple, right? Very simple. The first one is lookup value. Lookup value means what are you looking for? Lookup value. For us, lookup value is this, right? The unique identifier. We're looking for 6774, trip ID 6774. Excel say KO, I've heard you, comma. The next one is table array, right? So it says asking us, what is the table array? That means what is the table that contains this lookup ID, right? The table is in this other sheet here, master data, right? So what I'll do is I'll come here and I will now select my table array. So I press just control down and control side, right? So from here, right, control side, control down, right? So I've selected my table array, right? I set my table array, but this is where I would like to teach us something now. Because listen, remember, for my table array, I just did control side, control down, right? And it selected my table array for me, right? I highlighted this, right? I held control shift down and side and down, and it selected my table array for me, right? But there's an issue, because remember when I taught you, and I will escape this. I will cancel this now, right? Oh yeah, I'll cancel this, right? Remember when I taught you how to scroll down? I said when you're scrolling down, right, it will only select the active cells, right? And immediately there's an empty cell in between your data points. Excel will not pick it. So if you notice, see, there are extra cells that is not picking. Look at, because there's an empty space here. And because of this empty space, right, if I'm doing my data, my VLOOKUP equals to VLOOKUP lookup value, which is lookup value is this, right? Comma table array. I come here and I just do this, right? What I've inadvertently done is that I have omitted all this data. And most times we might not know, because it looks, from look of things, it looks like we've captured everything. And we just continue going up. But we have inadvertently misjudged it. So what I do is that I make sure that I'm sure that I'm capturing everything. Like, you make sure that everything's captured. There's no extra data anywhere, right? So this is actually our table array. A second way to do it is, instead of doing just highlighting this, I will just come and highlight A to just highlight the whole row entirely, A to H. So my table array is everything A to H. Just highlight everything, because I don't like stress. In case the data is down, I'll just highlight A to H. And I will not have to bother about formatting. About referencing, fixing it, because it's A to H. It's covering everything A to H. Do you understand? That's another way to do it. Right? A third way to do it is for the table array. Listen, I'm just sticking on table array, because just teaching us how to just select it is, you can name the table. I taught you initially that you can name a role, you can name a range, you can name a cell. So what can come here is that I'll just come here and I will just make sure I highlight everything here, right? And instead of I'll just come here and give it a name. And let's say I'll call it maybe I call it VL table. VL table, right? So if I highlight everything here, see, this is VL table, right? So I've come here and I've given it a name called VL table, right? VL table, right? Are we together? Or am I talking to myself? Hello, testing my call.
Yes,
I'm here.
Awesome. Now let's not go into the VLOOKUP proper now. So I just want to just point that out, right? Because it's very important. That can derail you, and you're just looking for what is wrong, what is wrong, what is wrong. So equals to VLOOKUP. Lookup value is 6774, comma. Table array now. Table array we have. Instead of going to click on the table, right? Because I know the table array, right? The table array is what? VL table, right? That solves the problem. I don't have to proper what about referencing? Should I fix it or vary it, or I just named it V table? V table is V table. Anyway, go ahead, please.
Do you suggest we just like do like the master data copy, or we do like a we have select all? So in case like we have like or we should just like fill them up with blanks, like the blanks.
It depends, right? So like for example, right? Before I fill it up with blanks, it's important. Like it depends. Like so, let me put that. It depends. Some people might fill it up with blanks. Some people might just have it like to have. So like me now, I always like to have the raw data, right?
Okay.
The raw data. Like for example, I will if I come here for sorry, please pardon me. For example, yeah, right. I rather fill up the blank with NA, right, or NA, right? So I know that it's because sometimes, right, the revenue can be actually be zero, right? So I would like to demonstrate what revenue is zero and what revenue did not come at all.
Mm-hmm.
You grab. So it depends. It depends on you. So you can fill up the blanks, you can clean it up, but make sure you use something that is auditable, because the client can come and say, I know there was a number there. You now say, sorry, this is the original data set. There's no number there. I just filled it with NA. So anyone that works for you, right? So you can first clean up the data first before you use it, right? So back to VLOOKUP. Thank you for that on the awesome question. So equals to VLOOKUP. What we're looking for is this, right? Comma. The table we're looking for, right? Remember, it is VL table. We named it, so we'll have to go and reference it again. Comma. Now it's asking us for column index number. That means that what we want to get is the asset class. The asset class, right? For 6774. So it's asking us that in this table here, what is the column? What column does asset class falls under? Right. So let me just do. Sorry, for lack of just to make it easy for us, I'll come back again. Let me just do something here. So this is the table, right? I'm copying it here, right? So we have, this is column 1, this is column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5, column 6, column 7, column 8, right? So these are the table that these like table headers, right? This 3 by into column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5, column 6, column 7, column 8, right? So when we come here, I'll do a VLOOKUP again. Yeah, table array is VL table. Right. Now, column index number. So it's asking us what column does asset class fall under? Asset class is in column 8, right? So if I press 8, that's column index number. That means go to this table, right? Look for column 8. That I'm telling you, column 8, that's what I'm looking for. Then comma. Now it's asking us what is the range lookup. Now it's asking us, do you want a approximate match or an exact match? Let me explain quickly. Exact match means that when 6774 goes to the table, if it sees if it not sees 6774, it will not give me anything. But approximate match means that if you see 6774.1, it will say maybe they mean the same thing, right? But most often than not, what we use is exact match, because we are looking for this 6774 on the dot. Because if Excel sees 6747, you say they are approximate. and we give you that value. But we're looking for approximate match. We're looking for exact match. So we click on false. False means exact match, right? And we close the bracket and we click on enter, right? And now what he has done for us is that he has given us the asset class of that 6774. If I drag it down, it will give me all the asset classes, right? The same thing for revenue. For revenue, we come here, right? Equals to Vlookup. Vlookup equals to Vlookup. Lookup value is this, right? Don't forget, lookup value is this. Table array is VL table. VL table. Now, what is the column index number of revenue? Anybody? What is the column index number of revenue? Anybody? Revenue?
7.
7, right? Then false, right? Close it, enter, right? The same thing for expense, right? We cannot drag this formula like this because we did not lock it. But that's I'm not big on locking. I mean referencing at the moment. I'm just teaching you what to do, right? This one is the same thing. The same thing. Just change expense. Expense is 5, right? Change to 5, right? Now, given this, right, we can just drag it down. Drag it down. Drag it down. But we can see that we have an error somewhere. We have errors in 2 places, right? It has given us the revenue for 6774, the S1 for 6774. But why are we having errors here? The only reason why you can have an error in VLOOKUP like this is if this number was not in the data itself. So for example, this 6747, right? This 6747. If you come here and find 6747, you realize that it's not there. So that means that I purposefully did it in a way that this 6747 is not there. And now we have error. Also, this 80119 is not there, right? It's also not in this thing, right? So what can we do to clear it off? Oh, column index number is basically, these are the index number. So this is index, this is column, right? So this triple is index 1, index 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if we are looking for expense, right, what we'll put is that expense is in column 5. So we'll put 5 as column index number. If you're looking for revenue, the revenue is in 7, so put 7. That's the column index number, right? So one way to clear, you're welcome, everyone. One way to clear this off, right? One way to clear this off, this error off, is by using if error. If error is another function that I'm teaching you with VLOOKUP now, right? So if I come here, just before the VLOOKUP, I put if error. If error basically is going to tell what I'm telling Excel is that if this my formula gives me an error, what should Excel put basically? So sorry, So what I'll do is that I come here and I put in front of the VLOOKUP, I put if error, right? So I'm telling Excel, if this my VLOOKUP gives me error, just put 0 there for me, or put NA, for example. And remember, NA, I'm going to put NA in a double quotation, because if I'm putting a text in a formula, I'll put it in double quotation. Remember, if I'm putting a text in a formula, put it in double quotation. So I'm telling Excel, if this thing gives me error, put NA, right? If I now drag this down, instead of having this error, I have NA here, right? The same thing for here. I come here, I put if error. If this give me error, give me, let's say I want 0, for example. 0, give me 0. Enter, right? And I drag it down. Instead of putting this thing, it gives me 0. So now I have an error in my formula. I have 0 in my formula. Same thing, I come here. If error, give me 0, right? 0. And I come here and I drag it down, right? Now I have a cleaner data set. Do you understand? So instead of having error everywhere, I've told Excel, if there's an error for any reason, right? For asset class, put NA. For revenue, put 0. For expense, give me 0, right? And that's how we work with VLOOKUP, right? Is it a bit clear to us? It might not be very clear, but is it a bit clear?
Good, very clear.
Okay, thank you very much. if it's clear, right? I will
Sorry,
do.
can I see how you put the if error again after
Okay.
the VLOOKUP?
So this was the VLOOKUP. There was VLOOKUP. I just came in front of it and I put if error in front of it and I press tab key. If error. So if error says what's the value? If this is the value, if this thing give me this, if this for VLOOKUP is giving me error, comma, give me 0. Right? So the value if error give me 0. Enter, right? You close the bracket, enter, right? And you now drag it down. Right? That's
All
basically
right,
what it
thank
is.
you.
Right. Now, I will go and do trim, and I will do pivot. Okay, trim and maybe learn, and we'll call it the day because time is up, right? Time is up, and I said I'll close by 12:20. This 12:21. But I will teach you something using ChatGPT that will help us, right? So even if I cannot teach you, ChatGPT will teach you, right? So let's do trim, right? Now, let's say you have, I honestly don't know why this happens, but sometimes you have data that just looking like this, like it's just so messed up, right? You have John Howard, you have look at the name now. There's a lot of space for the Scots. There's a lot of space everywhere, just messed up, right? One way to do it is to trim the data you have, right? So for example, this, if I want to make it proper, like I want to see it in a proper way, right? I come here and I click on, I'll do it for you. I use the shortcut equals to trim equals to trim, right? Enter. So it's asking me for the text, basically. What text do I want to trim? Let's say I want to trim John Howard, right? I click on John Howard. If I drag it down, now Scott, all others have been trimmed properly. Now there's no more unnecessary space everywhere. It's now properly trimmed. So I've trimmed it. The same thing for the company. If I press Ctrl R, basically just also trims the company. So equals to trim the text. I want to trim the company as well. And I press Ctrl down and see, voila, right? So now I have a trim data. I don't have data with spaces in between. I don't know how, I mean, sometimes when you export stuff, right, and you now have a lot of data everywhere, right? Everywhere. Okay, there's one more thing I would like to show us. Okay, it's true. For some strange reason, I've not taught, I mean, to be honest, I've not taught any other class. And maybe because it did not come to my memory. I don't know why. But you guys are just fortunate that I honestly just remembered. I never even put it in the course materials, to be honest, right? It's not in the course materials, it's not anywhere, right? So you guys are literally the first person I'm teaching because it's actually not in the course material. And that's how to import data, right? From PDF, right? How to import data from PDF. I'm looking for a data that can import that will not put me in trouble. So that's just give me 30 seconds. Look for a data that I can import, a PDF that can import that will not put me in trouble. I think that's basically what I'm looking for. Which data will not put me in trouble? Which data will not put me in trouble? Which data will not put me in trouble? When you can find a data that will not put you in trouble, or what I'm not going to trouble, I'm looking for a non-confidential information, that's a non-confidential data that I may have. For some strange reason, I don't know why I don't have a non-confidential data. Everything I have on my shoot. Okay. If we don't have a non-confidential data, we can create one, right? So just yep. I would like to teach us. I mean, I don't know how many people have ever had a situation where they've given you you're asked to import like some numbers from a PDF, for example. Let's say you have like the financial data of a company, for example. Right? Okay, yes, I finally found one. Oh, finally. Yeah. Finally found one. And I will use it for this training. Now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to reshare again for our bank statement financials. Yes, I've found one. Yeah, I'm going to share my entire screen for this. Right. Okay. Oh no, let me not share my entire screen. I think I'll just share this and functions as well. Okay. Now, assuming we have Oh, sorry, I have to share my full screen, my full desktop actually for this. We have this financials, of Zenith Bank. Zenith Bank is a popular bank in Nigeria, right? We have a 2021 financials, right? And you want to bring this to Excel, right? They asked you, maybe the task they gave you was to bring the P&L, balance sheet, and let's say the table, like bring all the tables basically into Excel. I'm like, oh my god, how will I bring, like, let's say do you want to bring the 5-year summary? You want to bring this, right? The 5-year summary of the P&L, of the balance sheets and cash flow. I'm like, oh my god, how will I? I mean, most will not start typing one by one. Will not start typing one by one. Like, oh my god, how? When will you start? When will you finish? Right. So Excel data tables really help, right? Excel data tables really help. So what I'll do is to let me create a new Excel sheet, right? Let me hide this. Right. So basically, I come to data tab, right? And I click on get data, right? So you can, it's basically saying that I want to get a data, right, from somewhere, right? So you can get data from a database or anything, right? But this one is a file, right? And this is from PDF, right? So we want to get the table from PDF. So I come to PDF, right? So I want to get the data from PDF. It will now say, where is the PDF located, right? The PDF is located here. It is where my send back PDF is located. And I click on import, right? Because it's actually large, it may take a while, right? So it gets, it looks at the PDF and it scans through the PDF, it scans through everywhere, looking for where the tables are and everything. It's scanning. It may take a while because it's actually long. I should have deleted some pages, right? But I mean, so basically what it does is that it scans through the PDF, right? And I hope you can see my screen, right? So for each of the pages, right, it brings us all the tables that are there. Literally all the tables that are there, right? So page 2, right? These are all the tables that we have in the PDF. What we want is in the last page, right? Last page or something, right? So this is what we want. This is the balance sheet, right? This is the balance sheet. This is the P&L, right? This is balance sheet. Let's say we want to get 2 items or 1 item. It depends, right? But let's say we want so we can select multiple items if we want multiple things. So let's say what we want only is only the balance sheet, right? So this balance sheet, right? That's what we want, right? We'll now get to transform data. So you can load it straight into Excel. You can transform it, right? So if I click on transform data, right? So it's evaluating. So after the Excel, I want only page 57, right? So it comes and it shows me data that I have. I mean, that I'm working with, right? Yeah. So this data, this is everything, right? That I have, right? And I can tell Excel that, okay, Excel, I want this row to be this second row that you see here to be the header, right? I can change this to header, right? I can make this header, right? I can use this as header. So I just come here, use as header, right? Automatically, I change this as header, right? Then I can click on close and load, right? And what will happen is that fast, load. Without typing everything word for word, right? Coming to type, paste, Excel will load this data for me, load the PDF data into Excel. It might take a while because it's actually very the data is actually a lot, right? But I'm actually loading 1 page, right? So it loads it and puts for me in Excel, right? Instead of typing it one by one and typing bank year 1, year 2, this, it just automatically gets it literally gets everything for me once and for all, right? It's taking a while to load. I mean, that may be the only drawback, right? So I only just, what I do is that I just make sure that the PDF I use contains only the table I need, right? So it makes it easier for Excel to be able to work with the data and transform it, right? So voila, now we have our and if I don't like all this rubbish Excel thing that Excel did, I can just clear the formatting, right? And Excel just gives me normal this thing, right? Or I can leave it like that, right? And with this, right, I can do a lot of things. I can add total rule. You can total rule for me. I can do a lot of things, right? And I can just work with it how I want to work with it, right? So now you have whatever the Excel the the table in Excel, right? So instead of copying this one by one, it has literally brought it for me in Excel, and I just format it as I want to, right? So that's how it works. So quickly, I'm really out of time, so I'm going to close now. Just talk about one last thing and we close. ChatGPT and Excel. Please just bear with me for just some few very few minutes, right? ChatGPT and Excel, right? So as I said, there are many things that I cannot teach you. I really want to teach you, but I can't because there's no time, right? Typically, this training material I have, I teach people 2 full days, 8 hours, right? 8 hours. This is how I use 8 hours to teach, because I'm with that, we do a lot of practice questions, practice one and go back and forth and everything. But because of I don't want to compress it and just do a free class and just compress everything to one. So that's why we are rushing. Right? So imagine I ask you, please, can you write a formula, right? Okay, let's do this one. Right. I want to write a formula that if there's video, if this text contain video, right, give me yes. If text does not contain video, give me no. That's what I want you to write. If there's contain video, give me yes. If there's not contain video, give me no. Most people here do not know how to do it, right? Do you know which formula to use? Hey, what formula will I write that I'll say, if this contains video, give me yes. If not contain video, give me no. Have I taught you in this class? No, I've not taught you in this class, right? I've not taught you how to use it, right? So, I said, there are many things that I cannot teach you, right? But there's a platform, ChatGPT. It can help you. All you just need to do is just be able to really specify what you want, right? So, for example, I'm telling Excel, Excel, I'm typing a command, right? What do I want to know? I'm telling ChatGPT, right, that help me write a formula that if cell B23 contains a video, right, return yes. If not, return no. That's what I want, right? That's formula I want, right? But because I don't know the formula, I come here, I copy it, right, and I go to ChatGPT, right? Oh, sorry, no, show that. Yeah, pardon me. Can you see my screen? I think I'm showing my full screen. That's my plan. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So I come to ChatGPT, I open an account, you open an account, and I come and I say, ChatGPT, right? Help me write a formula that if basically I just tell ChatGPT what I want, right? I click on enter, right? And say, okay, blah 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 blah. I can use this formula. Are you serious? Okay, oh. And he even explains the formula, right? And now I'm using 3 formulas. I'm using if, number, and search. I did not teach you if, I did not teach you is number, I did not teach you search. So even if I taught you, I will not teach you if, I will not teach you is number. I mean, is number is very simple, but I will not teach you is number, I will not teach you search. But with ChatGPT, I'll just come here, copy the formula here, right? I come here and I paste it here, right? Because this, right? And wow, voila, it gave me the formula without me even needing to know the formula. All I just needed to do is to be able to articulate my thoughts properly, and it gave me the formula, and I can use and go. That's fine. You have, I will just need to know how to lock here and here and here, and that's not concerning me. It gives me the formula I need, right? Imagine I have something like this too, right? And I tell Excel, if both values contains no, right? Give me let's have a talk. If not, give me all good, right? That what they ask you to do, but you don't know how to do it, right? I come here, I copy. I mean, I basically write the prompt for ChatGPT, right? Right, and voila, it gives me the formula to use and even explains how to use it, right? Everything, right? Blah 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 blah. And I copy it, right? And I come here and I paste it here, right? And copy formula down, and voila, I have it, right? So there are many things that I mean, it's impossible for me to cover. It is not even possible for me to cover, right? And even in your use of Excel, you might not be able to cover everything, right? But with ChatGPT, right, you can scale all these levels and still know them, right? And just as I mentioned earlier, right, I would love you to do me and do 2 things or 3 things, right? The third one I will send to you, I mean, via mail. Number one, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. What we'll do that it will help you. This recording will be posted there, and you also see recordings from previous classes I've had, right? And to be honest, you will really learn a lot, right? number 2 is I would like your feedback. Your feedback is what I use to. It's almost like the payment for the service, right? I know that okay, people are actually learning, right, and they actually learned, right, and it was useful to them, right, and areas I can also improve on, right. It just helps me build my profile, right, that okay, this is what this person learns, or this is what the person thought about the session, and this is what I can improve on, right. So if you can help me with those 2 things, that would be awesome, right. The recording of this video is going to be on my YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe, right. Next week class is going to be last class, so in case you want to join again, I'm going to cover pretty much the same thing, right, but like there's some things like, for example, now some of the things I covered in this class I don't cover in other classes, right. So you guys are obviously a step ahead. That you have a question, please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, quick question for the data, how to import data from PDF. So you go to data, the data section, data tab, get data.
Yeah.
Then what next? Because on my own screen, I'm just seeing from access, from web, from text, from other sources.
So data, can I see my screen? You will see from file. It should show you from file, basically.
Okay.
I mean,
mine doesn't have from file.
Yeah, so from file. I mean, it's so. And again, it might depend on the level, the Excel you are using.
version.
Version
Okay.
you're using. So I'm using 365. So
Okay.
with Microsoft 365, you can do that, right?
Okay, thank you.
That. Right. And
Then
I
second
think
question.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Sorry, you want to say something? Let me
No,
let
please
you
go ahead.
finish.
No,
Okay,
I
my gift.
Oh yes, you're the one that right. So what you would do that, please can you just send me an email? I mean, do you have my email? The mail that we send you, hello@onyekawogo.com. Just send an email, right? And yes, we'll be able to get
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. And thank you for the class too.
No problem. So thank you very, very much, everybody.